The Witching Hour, a battle of light and shadows. Let's understand the characters of our story today. Daniel Harper, a powerful and intuitive man. Daniel is a natural healer and spiritual guide. He's deeply connected to his ancestors and the divine, making him a beacon of light in the spiritual realm. His energy is magnetic, and his gifts are coveted by those who seek to exploit them. Sophia Lane, a corrupt and manipulative lawyer with dark hair. Sophia is the ringleader of a group of individuals who use dark magic and manipulation to steal energy and power from others. She's ruthless, cunning, and will stop at nothing to get what she wants. Barnes Lane, Sophia's ex-husband and a former police officer. Barnes is a Leo sign who once had a relationship with Daniel. He's complicit in Sophia's schemes but is beginning to feel the weight of his guilt. Barnes is torn between his loyalty to Sophia and his growing desire to do what's right. Rachel Green, a blonde-haired police officer involved in the conspiracy. Rachel is ambitious and has been promised a promotion in exchange for her cooperation. She's deeply entangled in the corruption, but is beginning to feel the weight of her actions. Barnes Carter, a detective from another jurisdiction. Barnes is a no-nonsense investigator determined to uncover the truth. He's the King of Swords who represents justice and accountability. Barnes is working tirelessly to bring down the corrupt network. Auntie Sage, a Sagittarius woman who is Rachel's aunt and a powerful spiritual guide. Auntie Sage is a protector of the family's demonic and ancestral spiritual legacy and is deeply connected to the devil. She's a fierce defender of Rachel and her gifts. Let our story now begin. The Witching Hour had always been a time of heightened energy and spiritual activity. For Daniel Harper, it was a time of deep connection with his ancestors and the divine. But lately, the Witching Hour had become a battleground, a time when dark forces sought to steal his power and disrupt his destiny. Daniel had always known that his gifts made him a target. His ability to heal, to see beyond the veil, and to manifest his desires was coveted by those who sought to exploit him. But he had never imagined the lengths to which some would go to steal his energy. The conspiracy. Sophia Lane was the mastermind behind the attacks on Daniel. A corrupt lawyer with dark hair and a penchant for manipulation, Sophia had built her career on lies and dark magic. She had connections with corrupt police officers, including her ex-husband, Barnes Lane, who had once been in a relationship with Daniel. Sophia saw Daniel as a thread loose and that needed to be tied up. Sophia's plan was elaborate. She used her connections to forge documents, plant false evidence, and even orchestrate a smear campaign against Daniel. She enlisted the help of Officer Rachel Green, a blonde-haired police officer desperate for a promotion. Rachel, blinded by ambition, agreed to help Sophia in exchange for career advancement. Marcus, though conflicted, remained silent. He knew what Sophia was capable of and feared the consequences of crossing her. But as the conspiracy unfolded, Barnes began to feel the weight of his guilt. He had once cared for Daniel, and seeing her suffer was tearing him apart. The fight back. Daniel refused to be a victim. He began gathering evidence, documenting every false accusation and forged document. He reached out to trusted friends and allies, including Barnes Carter, a detective from another jurisdiction. Barnes was known for his integrity and determination, and he quickly took an interest in Daniel's case. As Barnes dug deeper, he uncovered a web of corruption that extended far beyond Sophia and Rachel. He found evidence of bribery, abuse of power, and even criminal conspiracy. The more he uncovered, the clearer it became that Daniel was the victim of a coordinated attack designed to silence him. The Witching Hour. The Witching Hour had become a time of intense spiritual warfare. Sophia and her coven would gather in the dead of night, performing dark rituals to steal Daniel's energy and disrupt her destiny. But Daniel was not alone. His ancestors and the divine masculine energy of the universe were fighting alongside him. Auntie Sage, Rachel's Sagittarius aunt, was a powerful dark spiritual guide, voodoo practitioner and protector. She had always been a fierce defender of the family's demonic spiritual legacy, and she was determined to protect Rachel from the light forces that sought to harm her. Auntie Sage would perform protective rituals, calling on the ancestors and the divine to shield Rachel from harm. The unraveling. Sophia's carefully constructed world began to crumble. The stress of maintaining the facade took a toll on her health, and she found herself increasingly isolated. Rachel, too, began to crack under the pressure. The promised promotion seemed further out of reach, and she started to question her involvement in the conspiracy. Her aunt, Anti-Sage had always been a source of dark strength for her, but even Anti-Sage's voodoo rituals and demonic invocations couldn't shield Rachel from the growing sense of dread that loomed over her. Meanwhile, Barnes reached a breaking point. He couldn't live with the guilt any longer and decided to come clean. He reached out to Barnes, offering to provide evidence against Sophia and Rachel in exchange for leniency. Barnes agreed, knowing that Marcus's testimony could be the key to bringing down the entire network. The revelation. The truth finally came to light in a dramatic courtroom showdown. Sophia, Rachel, and Barnes were all brought to justice, their crimes exposed for the world to see. Daniel watched from the gallery, his heart heavy but his spirit unbroken. He had fought tirelessly for justice, and now, at last, he had won. As the judge handed down the sentences, Daniel felt a sense of closure. The corrupt individuals who had tried to destroy him were now facing the consequences of their actions. He knew that the road ahead wouldn't be easy, but he also knew that he had the strength to rebuild his life. The aftermath. In the months that followed, Daniel focused on healing and rebuilding. He became an advocate for victims of corruption, using his experience to help others navigate the legal system. Barnes continued his work as a detective, determined to root out corruption wherever he found it. Sophia, Rachel, and Barnes all faced the consequences of their actions. Sophia's career was ruined, and she was sentenced to prison for her crimes. Rachel lost her job and her reputation, while Marcus, though granted leniency for his cooperation, struggled to rebuild his life. Anti-Sage, however, was a different story. She had always been a shadowy figure, operating in the margins of society. When the conspiracy unraveled, she disappeared into the night, leaving no trace behind. Some said she fled to a remote village, where she continued her dark practices in secret. Others believed she had been consumed by the very forces she had summoned. Whatever the truth, Anti-Sage was gone, but her legacy of darkness lingered. The witching hour remained a time of heightened energy and spiritual activity, but for Daniel, it was no longer a battleground. With the corrupt network dismantled and the dark forces that had sought to harm him vanquished, he could finally embrace the witching hour as a time of peace and connection. Daniel's gifts, once a target for exploitation, became a source of healing and inspiration. He used his abilities to help others, guiding them through their own spiritual journeys and teaching them how to protect themselves from dark forces. His connection to his ancestors and the divine grew stronger, and he became a beacon of light in a world that often seemed shrouded in shadows. This is a story of justice, resilience, and the triumph of truth over lies. It serves as a reminder that no matter how dark the circumstances may seem, there is always hope for a brighter future. Daniel's journey is a powerful example of the strength of the human spirit and the importance of standing up for what is right. As the witching hour approached each night, Daniel would light a candle and offer a prayer of gratitude to his ancestors and the divine. He knew that the battle between light and darkness would never truly end, but he also knew that he had the power to shine a light in even the darkest of times. And in that light, he found peace through God Almighty.